Hi, my name is Leandro Facchinetti and let's write some code together, shall we? What we have on the menu today is CSS. Today we are going to write a lot of CSS. And the CSS that we are going to write is for this application that I'm developing. It's called Notestrator and it allows you to draw with a tablet like this on top of your computer screen. And this is useful if you are live streaming, if you are doing a presentation, if you have a meeting on Zoom, that sort of thing. And as of yesterday, this app also allows you to draw on top of an OBS stream, which is crazy, right? So yeah, taking notes and drawing on top of your computer screen. That's what this app is all about. And we are going to write a lot of CSS to style the menu with different tool selections and different colors for the notes and whatnot. That's what's on the menu today. Let's jump in. What we did yesterday was this to explore this crazy idea that allows you to draw on top of an OBS stream, and that worked. But we have these two copies of the menu that we want to style. Now, one copy is living on the main app, which allows you to draw on top of the screen. And there is another copy on the part that allows you to draw on top of an OBS stream. Well, eventually I will factor things out and extract this menu somewhere, but for the time being, I think that the exploration from yesterday needs to be commented out, and we are going to work on the canonical version, which is the thing that we had up to yesterday. So what we are going to do is just comment out the whole thing, this whole part of the app, which is the drawing on top of OBS. So everything up to here will be commented out, and we will uncomment the first part of the app, which is the part that allows you to draw on top of the screen. So let me take this out, find its closing closing comment thing, and then we are back in business. If I start the app now, you will see me drawing on top of the screen. There you go. And this is the menu that we are styling. So far, I have already started styling this on previous streams. So far, we have done this menu, or I guess the draggable portion of the menu. The whole thing is the menu. And we did the color selector. And is there something we want to change about that? Maybe the colors are too big, so maybe these circles are too big. What if we made them just a tiny bit smaller? And what if we put, I guess consequently, the numbers, which are the keyboard shortcuts that you can use to choose different colors, I think that the numbers will be further apart, which I think will be nice overall. So let's go to that part where we have, this is the drawing portion. This is where we are styling the color selector. And we are using this novel idea for how to do CSS, which is something I developed. It's called Liafax CSS, and it allows me to do inline styles that have nesting. And I think that is like Tailwind in spirit, but much better because it's plain CSS. It's a whole different story. But this is that circle, and we just made it a little bit smaller. I think that is better, and the numbers are further apart just by the virtue of the circles being smaller, but the numbers are still close to the circle that they refer to, and I think that is perfect. While we are here, I was remembering, I guess I will commit these changes because we're going to start experimenting with stuff, and I may want to undo some of the things. So I was remembering how I did this, and I was like, oh my god, did I really do it this way? And it's not optimal. Because of the way the thing evolved, the way that this is implemented right now is that I have a label, and this label has an input, which is a radio button, but the input doesn't show up. I hide it. And first of all, the better way to hide it would be to use hidden. But never mind that. And the real, I mean, we are not concerned with accessibility, and people who are visually impaired and are going to use a screen reader, because this is a drawing app. I don't think that it makes sense to have that kind of concern on a drawing app. But I don't think that I need to hide this, because the way this works is I have a hidden radio button, and then I have this div that will be the circle, but I can just make the radio button show up as the circle. So how about we try that? So I'm going to remove this hidden, and I am going to style with my library, and I'm going to copy a lot of these styles over here. Yeah, I'll just paste it here, and then I will rethink the rest of the structure. So let's review what we have here. So now we are going to render the radio button but without the appearance of a radio button, though it kind of looks like a radio button, but it will not be the browser default radio button. It will be a custom radio button that we developed. So we have the same background color, width and height, and border radius, but we don't need this. Oh, we actually need it, because the little circle in the middle that indicates that this is checked needs to be placed correctly. So we display flex and put it on the center. And that's because an after pseudo element behaves as a child. So we are going to have an empty content, and that's the small circle in the middle that indicates that this is checked. So we'll have a background color for that thing. We'll do a display block, otherwise a pseudo element would be displaying line. We give it a size, a border radius, and opacity of 0. So that's another thing I was thinking about. We, instead of doing opacity, we could do scale, and then it will like grow. So we'll try that. I'm thinking if I should try it right now. I guess I will. So we'll do a transform of scale and then I need to check with my design system, which is over here in my package, Liafax CSS. So I do have some values for scale. Yeah, and I have scale 0 in there. And the transition property that I want to transition is not opacity. So let's look at the transition properties that I have. If I want to do a transform, I should use this. The timing and the function, the duration and the timing function are going to remain the same. And then I don't need all this shenanigans with the operator. I can say that if I have an input that is checked, I think that just this is enough. I'm not sure that I can put a pseudo element and then a checked after it, but we'll see. And then here I will do a transform of scale 100. And then this is going to remain the same. This is what binds the keyboard shortcut to the button or to the input. Then over here we do this div, which was just spacing. So it was putting some space between the input and the keyboard shortcut right next to it. But now this needs to occur on the parent. So it is going to go to the label itself. So I think we just made this element a whole lot simpler, but I think it will look and behave exactly the same. Let's see. Okay, the thing that is not working is the scaling of the indicator. And I suppose the problem is the thing that I was kind of iffy about. So if you have an after, you cannot put a selector like this. So what I will have to do instead is something like this, I think. Yep, that was the issue. And then it scales the, I guess if I use keyboard shortcuts, it becomes even more apparent. Oh, the keyboard shortcuts are not working? That is weird. But yeah, I was going to say that it becomes more apparent that the scaling looks better than the opacity, and I think it looks better. Now my keyboard shortcuts are not working, so we have to figure that out. I guess I will try just an alert to see if the event is even firing. So the event is firing, but this dot click is not working on the input. It doesn't seem to. Let me double check that this is the input. Oh no, so this is not even showing up, so it should be null. But only in this function. I'll switch from alert to console log, but then I won't be able to see the console log because this window doesn't have DevTools that I can see because the window is so small and I cannot resize it. That's annoying. But I don't see anything in the console. Oh yes, I do see a bunch of things in the console. And I try to use the keyboard shortcuts, but they don't even fire anymore. That's probably because of the window being all messed up. So let me go to my menu. And I guess a good hack would be to just comment out some of these preferences. And now the window is a regular window that I can resize and I can see the DevTools in there. Oh, but now the keyboard shortcuts are working. I cannot look at the bug, because if I look at the bug, it goes away. Now it is working. What the hell just happened? Let me find all my console logs and get rid of them. And the keyboard shortcuts are working, so go figure. I have no idea what happened before, but now it is working. So I'm happy. I like the way that this looks. Do you like the way that it looks? Let me know. Let's move on. Next we have, I guess I'm just going to go through all the options in the menu. During development, I was just throwing things in there, so they probably don't appear in the right order. But I'm just going to style all the sections, and then we may reorder stuff later. But I do think that the next section is the correct one. It is the thickness of the stroke, thin, medium, and thick. So let's commit what we have and move on. Yeah, some simple changes there. We simplified things a bunch. Then we have the separator, and then we have the different stroke widths. We could keep the stroke width in the design system that we have. So let's see what we have for stroke width in the design system. We have only 0, 1, and 2, which for a drawing app doesn't make sense. I think it makes sense when you are doing like design, but I don't think it makes sense for what we are doing. So instead, what we are gonna do is, if you are new to this, it's a language, again, that I kind of developed. It allows you to write HTML in JavaScript. So this is a JavaScript program that generates HTML, and because this is a JavaScript program, I can just escape. So this is like a tagged template literal that has special magic. It's called liafac HTML, and I have a video in my channel in which I explain what's going on here. So what we're gonna have is the different stroke widths. So I guess I'll put them as strings, because that's how they are going to show up. And we may want to fine-tune these values the same way we fine-tuned the values for the colors. We are going to fine-tune these values. We'll see if they make sense. But now we can map the stroke width with a function that generates HTML, and then we can put one of these guys in there. So before I was just doing raw plain HTML, so I was copying and pasting more, but now I have all this infrastructure, so I can do a loop instead, which is better. I don't think I actually need the label when designing this for real. And I'll just put the stroke width in there, because I don't think I will put the names like thin, medium, and thick. I think we'll just do some icons that represent that. Oh, but I guess, do I want to like do something with the radio itself, the input itself, or do I want to have like a div or an SVG? I think it would be nice to do an SVG, so we'll do a label that will contain the radio button as well as the SVG. And we are going to hide the label, the input. And this SVG needs a size. I made this mistake too many times in this development of this app. I forgot to set a size for the SVG. So I guess the width, I guess I can kind of copy whatever we had for the other buttons. So we'll do this. At least we can start with that. And then let's do a line. And I don't remember how to do an MDN SVG line. Yeah, so we'll do a line that looks similar to this. And I was thinking that we could be cute and do a stroke color that is the same as the current color. The problem in doing that is that there are some colors that don't go well with the background, like black on black, and I had to add a border just to fix those. And then I would need a border here as well to make this make sense if you have a black on black situation. So I won't do that. I will just pick a stroke color that will come from my design system, I suppose. So I will say that this has a style of, and then in here I will pick a variable that is a color. We are using gray warm for the app, so I guess I will do like on light mode. You know what we could do? I could do current color, but I don't think it will be dark enough. So let's do, I don't know, 600. What is the color in here anyway? I don't even know. Yeah, so by default, the color would be a 500. We're gonna do a 600, and we'll see what that looks like. And then for X and Y, well, I want this to be at the bottom, so I guess I will do something like this, but I need to know the size that I'm working with. I'm doing font size extra large, which is 1.25 rams, and each ram is 16, so I'm working with 20 pixels. So I guess I will put this at 20, and then the X2, so I want the line to go like this. Guest Gamer, hi Guest Gamer, nice to have you here. How far along are you with this project? I can, and not much. So I have a prototype that works. I can draw on top of the screen. I can switch colors, I can switch stroke width, different tools like pen and marker and eraser. We developed even the drawing engine, so we developed everything from scratch. You can do things like click through, so you can interact with the app like Visual Studio Code in this case, but leave whatever diagram you drew on the screen. You can even do marks that fade away, so you draw and then it starts to fade. So everything in here work. We have developed everything from scratch, from the drawing engine to the windows and everything, and it is a working prototype. You can also draw on top of the OBS stream, so this also works. We did this prototype yesterday, but it's still very much in a prototype stage, so I have not worked yet on releasing this. I don't have like an Electron app that you can go download from GitHub or something. So I still have to work on styling the menu, on some other niceties that I want, like a different cursor. I want the cursor to change. I don't want it to be a simple arrow. And then we have to work on packaging, on probably a marketing website for the app. So yeah, how far along? I would say like 1/4 of the way to the first release. But that's just a guesstimate. So I want this line to be like this, and I want the stroke width to change. So the first coordinate is x0, y20, the second coordinate is x20, y0, and then we have this stroke color, and the stroke width will be this, and we'll just copy some of the stroke properties from the actual lines that we draw. So we have stroke, line cap, and line join, and we'll copy those here as well. I'm not sure that the line cap and join will appear because I'm going to the limits of the SVG, so I may need to make this number slightly smaller. But let's see what we have. Okay, we don't see anything. Why would that be? Do you think I made some mistake? Do you think that maybe this property doesn't work? Oh, no, the problem is that I did not interpolate here, so that was text instead of having the instead of being the stroke width. Okay, that was one of the problems. What else is obviously wrong? We could put a background color here to see if the SVGs are showing up in the right place, and they are. So the problem is in the drawing. Oh, and you probably want to have a div around the whole thing with a style of display flex and justify content space between, so it occupies the whole width of the element of the parent, like this. And we may not have the space to do the labels on the left, on the right, like this, the keyboard shortcuts on the right, so we may need to do them below, and that's completely fine by me. But why is this not drawing? What is wrong with this SVG? Is maybe this style not doing what it's supposed to? I can comment this out and write a stroke of like black. Yeah, so now that is working. So the problem is this CSS property. Oh, the problem is that I have the wrong name. In my design system, it's called gray dash dash warm. Right, so now I can remove my tomato. And I am capping the rounded line cap because I go to the end of the SVG. So instead of going to the actual end of the SVG, I will go to like maybe 18. Not good enough. Oh, I also need to go, whatever offset I put here, I'll also need to put here. So let's try like maybe a 5 pixel offset. I guess I maybe could try to do some other property like overflow display, something like that. We could show the overflow of the SVG. Does that even work? Can I show the overflow with an SVG? I don't think I can. But we'll see. So can I say, oh, I need to change this. I'm not seeing the actual color. Now I am. Can I do overflow? What is it? Display? Visible. It is overflow visible. No, that doesn't work. Did I get the name right? MDN overflow. So Guest Gamer says, I'm new to coding. How long did it take you to learn and how long have you been doing this? Well, there are two ways to interpret your question. How long did it take me to learn and how long have I been doing this? I mean, if you are asking about how long it took me to learn HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, I have been writing that for 17 years at this point. Yeah, I started coding when I started coding in JavaScript, HTML, and CSS, and I was doing that. I don't remember doing CSS, but I do remember doing a lot of JavaScript and HTML when I was young. So I started when I was 13, and I'm 30 now. So yeah, it has been 17 years. But how long did it take me to learn Electron and everything? You can see all the streams. I started doing the app live, and I knew very little about Electron. So this is session like 12, and each session is like 1 hour or 1 hour and a half. So I'm about in like hour 18 of the project, and that includes styling stuff, coming up with solutions for different kinds of problems, learning Electron, learning a bit of CSS as well as we go. And I came up with my own design system. I came up with my own way to write HTML. So yeah, that's how long it took. So yeah, it is overflow visible. Did that answer your question? Let me know. So what else could I do? I don't think that this works, but could I do it something like this? Yeah, it works. Nice. It picks up CSS properties, custom properties like this. Okay. Gas Gamer says, lol, yeah, she's 17 years, yeah. Yeah. So overflow doesn't work. I guess we'll need an offset of maybe 5. But Gas Gamer, I mean, I think that one of the best ways to learn is to practice a lot. There is no way around that. But to watch people who have been doing this for 17 years, watching them and learning, picking up their skills is something that is valuable. In fact, that's why I have this channel. So one of the reasons why I have this channel. So yeah, come along for the ride. Ask any questions you want. I'm happy to answer things that I have answered in the past if you don't want to watch 20 plus hours of me before you catch on to the stream. So yeah, just welcome. Hi, it's nice to have you here. I'm here every day of the week at 5:30 UTC. Yeah, 5:30 p.m. UTC, and yeah, that's what we're doing here. I guess I don't need as much space, and I do want this to line up. So I'll need to find the exact value. And not only that, the value needs to change, because when I have a very small stroke width, it needs to go up to the left. But when I have a big stroke width, it needs to give some space. So I'll need to do this relative to the stroke width. So maybe this could be the stroke width, and maybe this could be 20 minus the stroke width. Now, of course, there is a problem because my stroke width is a string, so I guess I will turn that into a number, or I could try to use calc, because if this is working, then maybe I can do calc in here, and we'll see. So can I do calc of 20 pixels minus stroke width pixels? Oh, it seems to work. Isn't that something? So that is working left to right. It's almost lining up. It's not quite lining up. It's almost lining up. But it's definitely not working on the bottom. And this has to do with y1. So maybe, like, do I want to go to the edge? No, I don't want to go to the edge. I'm amazed that this works. So maybe if this is working, I don't even have to hard code the 20. I guess I can just say var can say something like this. No, that doesn't work. Why would that be? That's interesting. And it's doing something. It's drawing a line. But it's probably going from 0 to 0, so it just looks like a blip at the corner. Okay, so we'll have to hard code the 20, but it's not really 20. It's 20 minus something. What if I do calc? Then can I do var in there? or maybe it just doesn't like the fact that this is in ramps. Yeah, the variable will not work, but we can do 20 pixels. Then we are getting back in game, and then we can subtract stroke width pixels, and we are getting back into that state where y is incorrect. So maybe going that much is too much, so how about we divide by 2? Looks good to me. I'm going to draw a line, and yeah, this is exactly right. It doesn't look exactly right, at least not to me, but I think it's an optical illusion. It seems like this line is longer, but I think it is an optical illusion. Now I'm starting to see this, and like, do I want it to be just a straight line? Maybe we could do like a Bezier and do a curve. What is another app that we can try to copy from? I remember that on the phone, if I go to the Notes app and I start drawing something, there will be an interface that allows me to choose different stroke widths, and it's not a line just like that. It is, I don't think it will show up on the camera, but we can try. Yeah, it is super out of focus because I don't have autofocus on the camera, but it just shows as a squiggle. And I like the way that it represents what is selected. It changes the color in the background color, so it highlights the selected stroke width. Yeah, I don't think I will do the squiggle. Let's see if there is an icon. Or I can just do a squiggle. I think I'll do just maybe a Bezier. And we learned how to do Bezier in previous episodes. In fact, I knew nothing about Bezier curves, but we implemented some pretty interesting algorithms that have to do with Bezier curves in previous episodes. But we don't need the algorithm right now. All we need is just all these properties. And we want to move our cursor here. Oh, I don't think I can use calc here. There's no chance that that will work, right? Let's see. I would just start with exactly the same we had on the line, but using the path element instead. And we'll see if the calc thing works. No, we'll have to do the calculation with the numbers. So we'll change this to be actual numbers. And then we can do mathematics like 20 minus stroke width divided by 2. And over here, yeah, sounds about right. Now we should be back to where we started. No, it shows up as a little blip on the corner. Why would that be? So we are moving the cursor to something like 0 and 20, and then we are drawing a line. Oh, that doesn't make sense. Okay, so now we are back to where we started, and we can try to do some curve instead. So I will want to get to that point, but I will also have some control points, I guess, at I want one on the upper left corner, so it will be stroke width, stroke width. And I want the second control point to be on the lower right, so it will be this twice. I'm just making things look slightly better, hopefully. Oh, I need to remove the fill. Yeah. Do I want it to go from bottom up or do I want it to go from top down? And do I prefer this to the lines? I think I do prefer this to the lines. It's kind of more friendly this way. Yeah, I prefer this to the lines. And now let's what do I want to do next? Am I ready to go to like the keyboard shortcuts below? Am I completely happy with what I have here? I was thinking that there was something else I wanted to do, but I forget. And again, I guess there is this optical illusion because I think that we are reaching the corners, but this line looks longer. But it's not. Objectively, it's not longer. Oh, it is longer than this one. So the bottom seems to be okay, but the top is not okay. But you know what? It looks good enough. Yeah, let's continue. What I want to do next is the keyboard shortcuts right below. So I have a label with an input that I'm hiding, then I have an SVG. I guess what I'm gonna do is I'm going to have a div around the SVG. This div will have a display flex and a flex direction of column and a gap, a small gap. So maybe something like a space 2. We'll see what that looks like. So we'll have the SVG and then we'll have the keyboard shortcut. And I don't know what the keyboard shortcut will be right now. So I'll just say that it's the letter B, for instance. Oh, and I want to align these items to the center. So I'll say align item center. Okay. I think that the keyboard shortcut is too far from the SVG. I will decrease this space to 1. Now we get to pick what will be the keyboard shortcut for this. I think that maybe the keyboard shortcut for this, what is most important? So we have other things like tools, pen, marker, and eraser, draw versus click through, and fade. That's what we have for now. So maybe I would say that the tool is the most important thing. And then right next to that is the stroke width. So I think that I will have it like this. The colors are the numbers. Guess I'll take a keyboard here and we'll talk about it. So you cannot really see the letters on the keyboard, but this is the numbers on the keyboard. The numbers will be the colors. Gas Gamer says, I'll be back, have to do something. Okay, well, see you later. You can always watch this on demand, but if you want to ask questions, then it's good to watch this live. Anyway, so the keyboard shortcuts will be, the numbers will be the colors, and then these will be the tools, and this will be the stroke width. It could be cool to have a relationship between the order of the things in the menu and the keyboard shortcuts we assign to things. And I think it makes sense to have the colors be the numbers. Or maybe not. How many letters do I have over here on the other column, on the other rows of the keyboard? No, I think I will have colors, stroke width, tools. Yeah. Okay, so the keyboard shortcuts will be Q, W, and E. And similar to what we did above for the colors, we'll have here an object to represent both the option as well as the keyboard shortcut for that option. But before I move into that, there's something weird here. I did this in the past where isDefault equals true only on the first element, which I don't think it really makes sense. What I intend is not that I can set a default. What I intend is that the first is the default. So let's see where I'm using isDefault. Here I can check that the index is 0. And I will do something equivalent here. So let's turn this into objects. And the keyboard shortcuts will be these letters, which of course only makes sense on an US keyboard, but in the future we'll have a way to customize the keyboard shortcuts. So now I will have to go to the input and I will have to say that when my index is 0, this will be checked. Otherwise it will not be checked. How do I have it above? Index, yeah, I guess I can copy from here. It's slightly different. I'm using the HTML tag here. Now we also want to copy the line that does the keyboard shortcut. So let's go to there and copy this over, which is, I guess, exactly the same. So first of all, it's not working. And also I'm not showing the right thing here below, and also I have no indication of what is selected, so we need to fix all these issues. Let's start with printing the right shortcut, because that's so easy. So now we have the right shortcut. We just need to indicate what is the current stroke width. So we can do that with the background with a different color, like in the Notes app. So we can use color, or we can use a line. Background color. Yeah, let's start with background color. I will commit what I have. I think that the stage where we are at is kind of nice, and I'm going to start experimenting with different ideas to show that the thing is selected. Oh, also I think that maybe the keyboard shortcut is not working because it is attached to an element that is hidden. You cannot click on stuff that is hidden. And the other one is not hidden, it's styled. Is this even triggering? It's not even triggering. Okay, so it is running, but it's not triggering. Oh, I think I know why. This needs to be lowercase for mousetrap to work correctly. Yeah, I think that's what this is. Yeah, so now I can use the keyboard shortcuts to move around. And you know what? By default, I'm picking the first, which is the thinnest. Oh my god! I have been in the wrong camera this whole freaking time. You missed a lot. This is ridiculous. I watch other people who stream and they do this, and I'm like, how come you don't know that you are on the wrong scene? And there I was in the wrong scene for 5 minutes. So I want this to be uppercase when I show the keyboard shortcut. So I'll say shortcut to uppercase. Like this. Also, I'm not sure that I want the first to be the default. I think that this line is too thin. I think that the middle one should be the default. And let's also take the opportunity to fine-tune these values. In fact, I think that they look okay. Yeah, so we'll have only 3 values, but I think that I will have the middle one be the default. So how about we backtrack on the thing that I just did. So we'll have here, I want all of this to be consistent, so I'll do an is default again. And we don't need the index. And over here I'll say is default. And I will do the same over here. No. brain fart. Okay, everything seems correct. Let's try this. Yeah, the first is the default there, but this is the default. I think I put the default on the wrong one. Hang on. Yeah, I want the middle one to be the default. Looking good. Now we'll do the selected indicator. So here is an attempt. If the SVG is right after an input that is checked and it's within this div that I need for the alignment of the keyboard shortcut, or do I? I don't. I can just put everything that I have in here in the label itself, and then I don't need this div, and everything will still look the same. See, it still looks the same. Now let's do, so the SVG is right after an input that is checked. So in that case, I will have a background color of, not space, color gray warm of 200. Oh, we need to get back to these colors and see what they look like in dark mode. So this looks kind of okay. Maybe we'll need to go 300, or we could do the thing that the Notes app does and just invert the colors. I think that could look nice. So we'll do a 900 for this, and I guess now the stroke will need to change. So we'll say that if I am in here, all my elements in here will have a stroke of this variable, and when the thing is checked, I will change the stroke to be super light. I don't think I need to be this strong. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, I think it has potential. But the colors are wrong. I need some padding and some border radius. Let's do the easy stuff first. So let's do a padding of space 1. Let's do a border radius of medium. That's interesting. Oh, the padding moved the whole drawing below, and space 1 is definitely too much. But the border radius I think is working. So let's do a padding of just 1 pixel. Or better than having a padding, the padding may not work. So what if we put yeah, I don't think that padding plays along very well with the SVG because it pushes the drawing. I could have an element that wraps around this, or I could just change the size of the drawing. So right now it's doing 20 pixels, which is a size that I kind of like. But I can add like 3, and then it won't touch this the side. And then I will need to add and subtract 3 to lots of places. No, maybe having a padding is a smarter idea. Let's revert to having a padding. Let's make the padding very small. Even with a small padding, it pushes the drawing. And it cuts the drawing too. I guess the problem is the box sizing. Now it doesn't push the drawing anymore. But I don't like the way this is going. So how about we have a div around the SVG. Some of the styles that used to go in the SVG will go to the div, like the width and the height, and the border radius, and most of these actually. And you know what? It kind of feels like a border. So what if I had a border on the SVG? Yeah. Let's revert this. No divs, no extra divs. Just instead of having a padding of something, I'll have a border of maybe 3 pixels. It will be solid and it will have the same color as the background. So it starts transparent. Do I have to say transparent? Maybe I don't have to say transparent. And I want to say that the border color is that. That is not working. Oh man. Yeah, let's try the div idea. The div will have this size. I don't need the border anymore. Or maybe the problem was that I didn't have an explicit color. No, that's not working. Okay, div around the SVG for the last time. And this time I'll go through with it. So width and height and most of these I'll copy over. The SVG will still need some dimensions. So I'll make the SVG occupy the whole parent. And then I'll have a border. I'll have a padding. It's pushing the drawing. The best way to do this is to calculate the right coordinates, because this size is conflicting with this. So yeah, no div hacks, no padding hacks. Let's just compute the right coordinates. Let's see what we have here on the SVG. So width and height and padding. No padding. Border radius, yes. Then we'll have a stroke of a particular color, and then when the element right before is checked, we'll change the background color. We don't need to change the border color, and we'll change the stroke as well. Now in here we'll have to compute the right coordinates. So we'll hard code our padding in here. The first coordinate is below, so we'll do a padding of 3. And the y coordinate needs to subtract 3, so it goes up a little. Then the control point on the top left needs to go a little bit to the right and a little bit to the bottom. Then this is the control point on the upper right. It needs to come a little bit to the left and needs to slide down a little bit. No, this is the control point on the lower right, so it needs to come a little to the left and a little to the top. And this is the second point on the curve, which is on the upper right, so it needs to come a little bit to the left and it needs to go a little bit down. Now this doesn't look too nice, but my padding was kind of working okay. So maybe I will not do the squiggly line. Yeah, maybe I will not do the squiggly line. Maybe I'll just do the straight line instead. Quick way to test this is to make this a line. The coordinates are just off. I made a mistake. But yeah, it will be just a straight line. So I'll go back to line, and then we'll need x1, x2, y1, y2 in this order. And this is an opportunity for me to rethink these coordinates. So it goes from the bottom left, which is this plus my padding, and this is also correct because it's on the bottom, so I want it to go a little bit up for the padding. Then the second coordinate is on the upper right, so I want for the padding to go a little bit to the left, but it is on the top, so I want it to go a little bit down. So I guess this is correct. almost there. And I'm dividing some of the stroke widths by 2, but not some other stroke widths. I guess I should do it like this. Yep. This is simple and good. Yeah, that's what we are going for. Now let's animate this. So we'll say we want to animate the background color of this guy. So we'll say transition. I guess I'll copy some of the other transitions. Transition. What I want to transition here is my background color, so I'll transition the colors, and all of this remains. And then in here I want to transition the stroke, so I guess I'll also transition the colors. Now the colors are transitioning. All I have left to do is to pick the right colors, because these colors don't look nice. For the stroke, I think that the stroke kind of looks nice. Yeah. But the background is too strong. So what if the background becomes what the stroke was? And then for symmetry, the stroke becomes what the background was. The background was transparent, but it was inheriting the background color of the parent, right? So we were seeing the background color of the parent, which is 100. And then I'll copy this over. And let's do dark mode. So the background color becomes so this was my background color. Oh, I'm so confused. Let's see if the light mode works first. Yep, this is simple, this is good. This kind of doesn't align, this 3 grid doesn't align with the 2 grid or 4 grid, however you want to think about it, above. So there is a... doesn't strike me the right way. But to get this to work, I would need to do a grid based on 6 columns. And then things would be too small, so I guess I'll just go along. Colors for light mode are working. Let me put a separator. Right here. So colors for light mode are working. Let's do colors for dark mode. So the stroke starts with okay, so the color of the stroke is always 500, and I go from 100 to 900 on the back on the background. On the background. So let's do something similar here. We start with a stroke of 600 because we want it to be slightly stronger than, we want this to be slightly stronger than this. So we start with 600. But when we are in dark mode, we will go to 400, which is one stronger than the default. Then the background color goes to 600, so I guess the background color will go to 400, and the stroke width goes to 100, so I guess it will go to 900. The stroke width, no, the stroke color. Ugh, yikes. Let's see what this looks like in light mode. And then let's switch to dark mode. Yeah, it's acceptable. Let me switch back to light mode. I just like it better. Let's commit what we have and move on. Next, we have the different tools, and I think that for that it makes more sense to use icons, not text. We have pen, marker, and eraser. Let me see if I'll go to my favorite icon library and we'll see what icons we can have here for pen. So maybe pencil would work for that. And then for marker, well, there's nothing for marker in there. Reason why I like this library is that it looks good. I mean, the Bootstrap icon library is that it looks good and it has few versions of most things. So if I have a pencil, I could use the pencil fill as the indication that this is the mode where we are at. Alternatively, I could use this language of having selected by highlighting it like this. Do they have something for an eraser? Yeah. They had things for Bezier. Let's go to other libraries that I like. We'll see what they have. No, not that kind of marker. Pen, pencil. Let's see what Font Awesome has for us. Yeah, that also doesn't represent a marker. Highlighter. Oh no. Okay, but highlighter seems to be more like what I want. There is also the Google icons. No. Nothing for highlighter. Yeah, that's what I don't like about Font Awesome. I can never tell what I can use and what is paid. Not even if I wanted to pay for Font Awesome, I could, I don't think, because this is an open source project. I think I only need to import the scripts. So let me see where they are. What did I install? What was it called? It was called Fort Awesome something. Refresh. Fort Awesome. And I don't think I need to put the scripts. I don't know. I think that this is where I need to go. SVG all. Yeah, sure. All of them. Give me all. So how does that work? I have to, on my menu here on the script, I need to call, but I don't actually need to call, I don't need to call this anywhere, so I don't need to assign this to a variable, I just need to require it. Let's see if this worked. I'll just drop it in place. And give it a try. It worked, and it looks okay. Let's search for pen. And I want it to be sufficiently different, but consistent. We have this option. Oh, when I command click, it doesn't take me to... Oh, I find that so annoying. It doesn't open in a new tab. Let's see what they have for erasers as well. Yikes, the eraser doesn't look nice. But okay, we'll have to be consistent, I suppose. I don't like the first one. Let's shop for options. So there is pen, there is pen fancy, pen alt. Okay, how about we try all of them? So there is pen, there is pencil alt, there is pen nib, there is pen fancy, there is pen alt. Those are our options. Do you have a preference? What do you prefer? I have two in a row that are exactly the same. Yeah, I have pencil alt twice. Did I miss one? I have pen, pencil alt, pen nib. Do I have pen nib? Yeah, I had pencil alt twice. But whatever. Pen fancy. Thanks for the opinion, guest gamer. So you like pen fancy. Let me see what pen fancy looks like. Pen fancy. Pen fancy is okay. I could also go with pen alt. Let's go with pen fancy. So we'll have pen fancy. So it's like, I like that this matches, but then marker doesn't match this, and eraser also matches this. So you know what? I think what I'm gonna do is I'm going to rename my tool to be called highlighter, which is a name that I actually like. I think it makes sense. So I will do that. Let me see what I changed. And I'll do a global search and replace from marker to highlighter. There you go. Is the highlighter still going to work? We'll see. Yes, the difference between the pen and the highlighter is that the pen is opaque, the highlighter is translucent, and the width is also different. So the thickest width of the pen is not as thick as the thickest width of the highlighter. And you know what? The keyboard shortcuts are not working again, so I don't know what gives. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. I mean, I just changed like styles and stuff, and now it's not working anymore. If I restart, it may work. Yeah, it works now. So yeah, there's something odd. Oh, it's when I click on one of these guys. When I click on one of these, then the keyboard shortcuts don't work anymore. But if I click on one of these, it starts to work again. So maybe it's just when I click on the part of the menu that has not been styled yet. Somehow it knows that it has not been styled, so it breaks stuff. I don't know. It's just one of those things. Okay. I'm tempted to just leave things like this and continue on Monday. I mean, it's so similar to this. I guess I'll just bite the bullet and do it right now. It shouldn't be too hard. So let me see. Well, there was a kind of a similarity between... So I was doing loops for all the other ones because they were kind of just different values, but these are different tools. They kind of mean different things. And I think that we will want to do some special tricks, like when you enable the eraser, you disable the stroke width. No, it kind of makes sense to have a stroke width on the eraser because that is the radius of the eraser. I don't think there is any part of the menu that I want to disable based on the tool. I mean, I could disable the colors based on the if you are on the eraser. So maybe, do I want to have a loop here or not? Because I have enough things that are different, like this. Yeah. Oh, but then we'll have the CSS and everything, so I guess it will make sense to have a loop. So how about we do some copy and pasting and changing and try to get this out as quickly as possible. Parts that I want to keep. I want to keep all of these. I want to change this into tool. This will be strings. The keyboard shortcuts I want to be A, S, and D. Oh, it's nice. It stands for delete, I suppose. And the default will be the pen. So I have pen, highlighter, and eraser. This I will rename to tool. The shortcut and its default. Then this I will keep. The radio, the name here is the tool. All of these I want to keep, and then the SVG is not necessary. But what I will need is to have this. So I guess I will also need an icon field. And I'm going to scroll down and I will add an icon field. The first is going to be this, or maybe just that. Then, well, over here I will get a hold of the icon. Over there I will use the icon. Was it called tool? Yes, the name of the field was tool. And now we see, oh no, icon is not defined. What? Icon. Oops. I put the icons in the wrong place. Oh no. There is no easy way for me to select all of them at once. 1, 2, 3, 4. take out, scroll down, 1, 2, 3, 4, paste. Do I have the same inconsistency over here? No. And this pen fancy icon, whatnot. I think I got everything in place. There you go. Oh, but because I removed the SVG stuff, I also removed the bit that was doing the magic trick to put a background color and everything, to indicate that the thing was styled, that the thing was selected. And for this, I'll probably also do, will want to do a font size. Let me start by not doing it and we'll see what it looks like and then we'll fix it. So anywhere where I see stroke, I actually want to change the color. And then it makes more sense for me to have color first. Okay, this is too large. Maybe it is time for me to do the div that I tried so many times in the SVG. Looking good. Now all we gotta do is I feel like this color stuff should appear first, and then we also want to do a display flex, justify content center, align items center, and we also want to play with the font size. How about we go to large? And anytime we change the font size, we change the line height as well. That was too large, so we'll go one down from large to base. And we'll go one down from base to small. And now it is perfect. Oh, the eraser is not working. Did I know that? I don't think I knew that. I think that the eraser was supposed to be working. Oh, another thing that I like about this order is that the home row of the keyboard has the different tools. So I kind of like this property. I'll put a separator. No. HR. Separator. Looking good. Yeah, let's wrap this up. And push. And that is what I have for you today. Have a good weekend. I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you for subscribing to my channel, for being here and participating on the chat, for supporting me on PayPal and Patreon. And on Monday, we are going to continue on this, or maybe not. I have this other idea that I wanted to play with. So I always keep thinking, taking stuff in new directions. So we may continue doing this and we'll style the rest of this menu. You know what? That's what we're gonna do. We're going to continue styling this menu. I'll play around with this other idea at some other point in the future. So thank you all for being here. I hope you learned something. Yeah, I see you on the next one. I see you Monday, 5:30 UTC. Bye.